And I would understand, because I think of too when President Obama went on The View and he said, when they asked if this was a terror attack, he said, we're still doing an investigation. I can understand for national security reasons, sometimes maybe you would need to say that. What I cannot understand is why you would offer this alternate that is clearly not true. And the fact that they went out, not only did they not just kind of push off on it by saying, oh, we're still doing an investigation, we can't talk about it, they brought up a completely inaccurate fact to try to substitute for that, and that's deceitful.
It is. It's absolute reverse engineering. There's a principle we have in the military in combat units. Usually, almost always, the first report is wrong. If you're in the headquarters and you get a report from the ground, assume it's preliminary information that isn't very accurate. You're going to have to continue to refine it. In this case, the preliminary report was right, because they got it straight to General Hammond, pushed it all the way up.
And it was obviously
right.
It's clear.
And so they walked backwards from that in a reverse engineering nature to what else can we blame it on? Because we forget about the context sometimes. This is right before the election, and we can't afford to have it.
I totally agree with Ellison. If you're pinpointing the most offensive aspect of this, it's the creation of an alternative explanation. What we have with this report is we have clarity that it was a terrorist attack, and that was made clear from the beginning. But if you want to talk about the political repercussions and how he's reelected, they can always pull the confusion string. They can always say, well, reports were confusing, because we're not going to know till stuff is declassified.
Fog of war.
Or fog of war. But what they can't explain, and what this report doesn't explain, is why did you decide that you had this affirmative response? That no. Why did you decide you could blame it on a video? What did you do? Why did you acquiesce to the sensitive nature of Islam? Why did you create this idea that the First Amendment is the problem?
There was a very clear line that people were going to draw between this president, for a lot of reasons, I think, in the presidency of Jimmy Carter. This would have been a very obvious Jimmy Carter moment. This is, whether we call it a terrorist attack or not, it's a jihadist assault on a U.S. facility ending in the deaths of 4 Americans serving abroad, including a U.S. ambassador. I just add that because they're supposed to have even higher levels of protection. It's not like they're worth more as a person. It just shows you how out of control, or rather how behind the 8 ball the security efforts were there. They had absolutely no idea what they were doing, and people would have said, wow, our facilities aren't safe. This guy doesn't know what's going on. Bin Laden is dead, but guess what? Al-Qaeda is very much alive.
But it's a story, if it had only been